Okay.
Wonderful.
Trying to think. Here's kind of. Yeah, we always lose a tiny bit of you at the very edge of that, but if you're kind of climbing out as we see you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Where are you able to conveniently put a stool or a chair so we can have you sat in that chair?
I've got a chair underneath the green screen here.
Okay, I'll try and kind of position you in accordance with that. Toggle. Let's go here. Maybe a little bit. What does it look like if you're sat side on? So kind of with that. Oh yeah, remember let me just crop out the very top of that lamp. Because otherwise it is slap bang in your face. Actually, that's okay, I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. But I can make that not horrendous a bit later. Lamp in map room. Obscuring face. Okay, well that gives me sizings for Getcha. Let me just have a look at Doug's body. How is your current setup in terms of kind of putting things, like pretending to crawl down, putting things into the
Yeah, it's probably better if I'm stood for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way for me to go lower?
Yep, I can shuffle you a bit lower. We might need to angle your camera. Are you kind of stood quite near the front or nearer the back of your green screen? There we are.
This is the very back. Okay, great.
Yeah. Just so we don't cut off your hair.
Yeah. I do need a haircut, so it might be very convenient. Here all week, gang. I'm back in business. Now that the lag's gone, I'm going to be just as quick. Come on.
The lag back, please.
Okay, and then I think the main other. Oh, let me just check what you're looking like in some of these scenes. These are all embedded scenes, so let me, this one. I might just make you a tiny bit smaller in these ones.
Anything to help with the waist, Chloe?
Let's get you in the middle there. Take that corner out. Okay, sorry, I'll just very quickly whip through. We can. Oh, could you stand up, Alice, for reference? That way I can try and get Tom. I reckon about there. That one, thank you. And how's this looking? Tom looks a little bit small.
I look like a kid that's been on a day trip.
Look. So I'm making a lot of assumptions here because I've not actually seen both of you like side to side in real life. So I've just assumed that Tom's taller.
It's not. I don't think you are you, Tom?
Alex is
taller.
Yeah, that's about right.
Alex is freakishly tall.
Ah.
Alex is taller than me, and I'm 6'3".
Guessing. Getch's room. Okay, so that's 7 and 8. So actually, Alice, I'm just going to over there. And Tom. So I'll just wait for you to go back to a comfortable spot. That's, actually, because of the projector on this, I'm just going to make Alice a bit smaller instead of you a bit bigger. And just crop out those edges. Okay. Just the radio to have one of these to check out. Don't worry about the fact that there's no edges. This is the one that goes in the projector, so we never see the edges. 7 and 8 again. And just and that gives us some good kind of space. And I'll just bring up the silhouette murder and kind of get you on the radio, and we'll just check those ones as well. So let me just see which of these images. I think it might just be I need to change the silhouette one for Tom with the new camera setup. So I'm pulling from, yep, virtual Tom Taylor silhouette. Oh, I see, yes, crunch. I'm just gonna, oh, 1 second, sorry, I'm just gonna check your green screen, Tom, and see if I can improve it a little bit in this new setup. So I'm just gonna okay. No, just trying to grab. Just gonna have a quick look at some of these presets as well. That's okay. Let's just go back to this. So you're aware, Peter, I'm just having a little play with the green screen, just since it's a little bit different in the new setup.
Yeah.
I think a little bit of edge fuzz is going to be, sorry, I'm aware no one could see what I was doing there. A little bit of edge fuzz, I think, is going to be unavoidable just because there's some quite strong shadows on Tom's green screen. Like if I just show you now.
Yeah.
Is there anything I can do with like the lights or anything to help?
If there are any lights available that you can use to kind of primarily light the screen rather than yourself, so that they're kind of
Grab some
going
light.
past you, not casting shadows like that.
Let me grab a light as well.
Thank you, folks.
Hey, Tom.
Is there a plug behind here?
Yeah, there should be. Found it?
Is it behind this green screen?
Yeah. You can see our height difference in a minute.
Oh my.
That might be a bit.
No, if you need any more lights.
Sometimes it's a bit tricky. That softened the kind of, yeah, maybe if it's up on the table a bit higher. That's definitely softened it. So let me see what things are looking like if I toggle this off and
Get more
on.
lighting if needed.
It's definitely improved it because there's not quite such a heavy shade there. Let me also just do a fresh color capture. There we are. How do you let me just also have a little back to what that was. Just going to try a couple of the other presets. That's currently the best I reckon I can get with the current lighting setup, Peter. I'm just aware that is workable, and obviously we're limited on time. How does that feel to you? I can show you Tom in a scene, and that might be a bit more easy to judge.
Yeah, thank you.
So you can see there's a bit of a outline at times.
Yeah. Is the
Struggling to get it as crisp as I'd like. I'm just, if I, one second, this is what I did on Sherlock, so this might be the best alternative. I'm just going to take a screenshot.
Yeah.
And that way I've got something that I can have a little play around with independently.
Take another light through to him. That's helpful.
If you want to do that now, then basically I would say we could try and get the best lighting set up now. I take a screenshot of that and I work the green screen independently this evening, because I can do it with an image that accurately reflects stuff, and I think that might be the best thing in terms of time.
Let's try the main light.
That's the main light added.
Okay, let me just get a fresh crop of that. Save that. Okay, let me just make a quick toggle. It's mainly the line we
Shadow.
get round what I assume is your left hand sides, Tom. What's on our right as we're looking at you.
Let me pop up.
But yeah, I reckon it could take up quite a bit of the time that we've got available to look into that, but I can do that with an image this evening. Let me just, okay. Yeah. What's this coming up? I wonder if there is a straightforward way to do this. 1 second, I'm just going to see if I can improve this so we don't have the kind of the grey fuzziness. See if this looks like in situ, because we weren't having such a tricky time with silhouettes beforehand. And Alice's camera. Let me just check my text script so I make sure I'm changing the correct scene. Yep, 6.2. Yep, is where we go silhouetted for Alice to do theories. So let me just. Yeah, I'm getting quite so much noise. One second, I'm just going to check Alice's settings and Tom's settings for silhouettes.
Yeah, this is quite, looks great, doesn't it?
Oh, 1 second, let me. Oh, I can't see everything I want to see because there's too many windows. Here we go. Okay. This is 1 second. My brain will understand exactly what needs altering here in this moment. Okay. One moment. Sorry, this is the final thing to set up, and then we can do the silhouette stuff.
Right.
me just see if that's fixed it. Sorry, for some reason the settings that I had that were working for everyone last time, I don't know if there's a slight change in there. I'm not quite sure exactly why it's not. Just see what's going on here.
It's fine.
I have to sort the settings out.
Chloe, I sometimes find resetting my green screen altogether sometimes helps, starting from scratch. I don't know whether that's helpful.
Yeah, I mean the problem that I'm coming up against, which I don't know why it didn't manifest last time, is when I'm, say, desaturating images and such like, it's treating the green, it's turning the green screen into a solid object that can't be seen through, rather than just taking all of the colour out of the view of.
If you green screen first and then you make your virtual input from that, does it not hold the green screen then?
That what I'm currently. Let me just cut to what I'm looking at now. So this is a virtual input I've got. So I've got Alice coming in with the green screen, and then this is a virtual input from that. If I've got the source settings, then that's what I see. And then if I kind of take this out and, for instance, take out all the saturation, maybe it's, you can see how as I kind of make Alice there. Let me just see if I
isn't that okay like that? Is that not keying now? Is that, I thought that's keying, isn't it?
No, it's let me just, when you see the white coming in there, that's coming up, that's treating that as a solid object. I'm just trying something else though.
Okay.
Because there should be, I think it might be one of the ones in here. But... Okay.
Oh, you're wanting to do silhouette, aren't you? That's what it is.
Yes.
Right.
This, weirdly enough, is now it gives me a white silhouette.
It's the opposite of what you want. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm still at least able to see that it's keying out everything else.
Yeah, yeah.
That is then keying that back in. I'm wondering if there is any easy way to just, because if I take it the other direction, that's as far as I can go the other way.
Right.
I'm
not sure myself. I haven't done that before. That's silhouette effect.
Yeah, I'm just baffled that the settings that were held from last time.
Last time, yeah.
And that just starts keying it back in. That it's not keyed there, but by the moment you flick, that's keying it back in. Oh, that's giving us a background. That's giving us background. Why on earth? That. Peter, I want to kind of throw to you on what you think is best, because basically I reckon if I had 10-15 minutes to Google some things and see exactly why this isn't working, because I'm sure someone out there must have some explainers on making silhouettes in vMix, because I'm also aware that the concept of the silhouette scene rather depends on this tech.
Yeah.
But I'm aware that during that time, it would be best if there's something that you and Alice and Tom are all able to.
Yeah,
work
I
on.
think
I can kind of
that
change scenes, but yeah.
I think could we, because the silhouette scene is quite short and quite small, I think we can, if we're having trouble, maybe park it for now. Do you reckon, and then is it something that we could look at tomorrow if we had time quickly?
We could look at it. I mean, if we have time is a bit of an if, just because
Yeah.
we may want some time just to make sure that like audio things aren't flaring up, that everything is set up correctly, everything's showing as we want it to.
Yeah.
So I think if we wanted to look at it, and it is a good moment of interaction between the two actors,
Yeah.
we would want to be doing that today. It's just a case of, is there anything that you think is possible to work on, even if I'm periodically changing scenes in order to assist?
I mean, I'd really like to look at the theories again. The theories, basically the end, all of the end sections of the theories and the pen confession bit. Just playing around a bit more with the theories of and getting them interacting would be good.
Okay, I can bring that up.
Yeah, and then feel free to sort of dip in, and obviously might need you to do a bit of scene changing for that, but
that's fine. I'm just gonna grab you as an audience member and make sure that you're coming in.
with the audience that we've got coming, I know that all I've done is just downloaded this very basic green background. Do you think it's worth sending this background to them, saying if they feel so inclined to put it as a background for their Zoom calls when they come in as audience? Does it make it easier for you pulling different audience members, or not really?
I mean, if they don't have a green screen, they will just come up as a block. The kind of things that we're playing with will read a little bit more fun as a green screen.
Yeah.
I know for sure that I don't know about the other types of folks. I know the 3 people that I've got coming are the kind who will either have a physical green screen, or they probably have a fake green screen already downloaded. I guess you could just send out a file, just say if you wanted to download this as a background for Zoom, then it will make it easy for you to hop in if you'd like to do so.
Yeah, that might be quite nice.
So yes, where would you like I can just kind of bring up an individual location like this that has people in. I don't know where you want to start with for the theories.
Yeah, can we start with Alice as Shartington calling us in? Then jump in.
So I'm just double checking that Alice is going to be visible on all of the possible scenes. Yep, in there. Yeah. All good, my end.
Okay. Welcome back, detectives. Now, I trust that with all your interviewing, you now have a very clear idea of who did it, how, and why. So I'll waste no time in calling for our head detective of Breakout Room 1 to tell us your team's theory and who you think done it. Actually, as a treat, you can sit in my captain's chair and tell us your theory.
Oh, well, oh, hello, everybody. Thanks. This is great. Yeah, well, we had a theory. We basically believe that the killer was, in fact, lots of people had reasons to want him dead, but we think that the killer was, in fact, Doug Spoddy. And
What? How on earth can you think that I'm the killer? Come on then, tell us your theory.
oh, right, okay, our theory. Well, yeah, well, we basically think that you'd been trying to poison him by using the seal liver oil that you were putting in the cod liver that you were giving to Bella. That maybe the two of you working together, I don't know. So you would be pouring it in and using it to poison him, and then
Detective, I'm going to stop you right there. You mean this cod liver oil right here?
yes.
Well, I haven't been putting seal liver in that. Why would I ever be putting seal liver in it? The first thing they teach you at nautical school is that seal liver is high in vitamin A and is very poisonous. I would never give that to my best friend Albert Ross.
Well, we think that you did, and then you went to the tower when you knew that he was calling to radio for help. You went to the tower to strangle him.
And what exactly would I have strangled him with in this tower? Eh? What would I have strangled him with, Detective?
You strangled him with the tea towel on your shoulder.
My tea towel?
That's it. So you strangled him.
We've been on this base for several months. I've been washing dishes with basically my bare hands. This isn't even strong enough to clean a good pot, young sir. You couldn't strangle anybody with that. And trust me, I know.
Stop trying to flatter me by calling me young.
Sir. I'm sorry, but if anyone on this base wanted Albert Ross dead, well, it was probably Penguin or Get Your Bearings. I can't remember who's next.
Right. All right. Well, thank you very much, Detective.
So, let's hear from another detective, shall we?
All right. Let's pause there for 1 second. Wonderful work. Let's just double check. So, Chloe.
Yep.
So we can look at the text bit again, because the text isn't, we can look at that at a different moment. The text isn't updating, is it, on the...
Have you got a
wait.
VMix social open, Chloe?
Sorry, yeah, that's on me. I didn't open it back up when I
That's what it is, yeah.
opened
Always needs to be
VMix
open,
back up.
no worries.
It should now be running.
Fabo.
There we
Yes,
go.
great. Cool. So what I'd like to try this next time, so with this effect, Chloe, that you've got is like almost like a spotlight on the what do you call it, the projector, is that correct?
Yes, that was something that Steph asked for, of like, is it possible to make it look a little bit more like there's light on the projector? I can play with it to make it kind of, I should be able to make it lighter and darker in vMix, otherwise I can't just do that manually outside on GIMP.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think it's quite nice.
Let me see here. So I've got number 40.
So yeah, I think if we could try this next time, something we tried with this time when we do a series, can we ever go trying a like the heightened acting out what's being described by the detective. So this time we'll do it as if it's yeah, so you're acting out everything, even if it's ridiculous. Could we also have Alice, have you got a change of costume to be Albert Ross, if, for example, he's strangling Albert Ross?
Tom, have you been using this hat for Albert Ross?
Yes, something very similar, yeah.
Amazing. Yes. Great. So yeah, I'd love to see that we play with acting out as being described, and then when you feel the detective has given. Oh, also what I really loved was prompting the detective to give their theory. So I deliberately didn't give my theory. I was just like, I think they did it. And then yes, so you can challenge if they launch into their theory, then you can launch into these sort of, oh, that really stylized sort of almost silent film acting of doing it. And then once the theory is done, you can let's play with snapping back out into your actual character, dismissing the theory and then throwing to another detective.
Right.
Quite hard to
Are we going from Shartington? Yeah, sorry. Shartington at the top or elsewhere?
Can we go from Shartington at the top? Yeah.
Yep. Let me just.
Can I just make a quick comment? I wonder whether for Peter, is Peter mirrored in that image coming back to him?
Yeah.
I just noticed that he's finding it a little bit difficult to orientate his angle, his left and right. And I wonder whether if you mirrored his image in his input, Chloe, that might help him.
As in, do you want me to mirror it? Because currently it's unmirrored, but I know that Zoom's inherent mirroring is an absolute nightmare.
I can unmirror my video, but I guess, yeah, that's something we wouldn't be able to ask all audience to do.
No, best to do at your end. Just his input, just his single screen input.
My one thinking, I'm just trying to remember exactly how this goes, because I know that if presumably Peter, what's easiest for you is where or how much are you actually looking at Zoom? If say the direction you were going on Zoom was different to the direction you were going on vMix, would that be a nightmare for your brain?
So I'm not in vMix, I'm just on Zoom.
Of course, you're just on Zoom.
Yeah.
But seeing yourself on vMix in Zoom.
Yeah, I keep going the wrong way it's because of the mirroring, probably. Yeah.
Wait, sorry, let me just look at.
Mirrored his individual input, it would work for him, I think. Just his own.
I'm just aware that Zoom has a thing where, depending on whether Peter's mirrored or not, what we see of him might be different to what he sees of him. Because that's how Zoom's mirroring works. It doesn't actually change how you appear to others. It changes how you appear to yourself.
Okay.
Let me just. Oh God, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
That was because I was trying to fix a thing, but I'm going to have to fix it externally in GIMP. Basically, I can change the projection thing, but that will be a thing that I need to change in GIMP, but I can make it a paler image. Sorry, trying to do 20 things at once. There we
Sorry,
go.
Chloe, just carry on. Sorry, I won't interrupt.
That's okay. Sorry, yes, I'm aware that's quite dark, but I will fix that. So, Peter, if you kind of move side to side, is it the same?
Yeah, so now if I move, yeah, I know I'm having to move the other way. Yeah, so I'm moving one way in. So the way I'm moving in vMix, because obviously I can see myself twice. I've got my little phone Zoom screen. So yeah, they're moving in opposite ways, but because I'm only really looking at the vMix image, that's what I'm.
Can you see if you're mirrored in Zoom?
I am mirrored in Zoom.
Can you unmirror yourself in Zoom?
Yeah.
but I know that some people seeing themselves on mirrored in Zoom is the thing is we won't know whether any audience members have mirrored themselves in Zoom or not mirrored themselves in Zoom.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so it doesn't, me mirroring or unmirroring doesn't make a difference to the vmix
doesn't
image.
change how you appear to yourself.
Not in the vmix image, just in my little green screen box.
I see. Okay. I will flip everyone in vmix. We'll have to see how that is for people
Chloe,
tomorrow, because it
Chloe,
will change.
you don't need to flip. Chloe, you don't need to flip everybody in vmix. You just need to flip Peter's image.
No, I mean everyone,
Peter's...
as in all of the 3 audience member inputs that I've got set up.
Oh, I see. But I
sorry,
okay.
yes, that's
yeah, okay. No
who
problem.
I mean
I thought they actually mirrored. I thought they only mirrored for their own self-view image in Zoom. I always thought you saw them the video way around when they as a receiver.
That's good. What you've done
we
there.
always see them the same way, but some people find it really hard to process if they're seeing themselves moving in, say, 2 different directions, which happens if they. It's a whole thing with how Zoom decides to make mirroring work. But I've mirrored you now in vmix, so hopefully that's
brilliant.
What was the next job to do?
So
just going from Sharsington.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just grab that. There we go. I will add another scene in here because at the moment we hop straight to audience member being there, but Alice not being there. I will put in a transition one just to let people know that will be there, but it shouldn't change how you do anything.
You know, with the writing, you can write on the case files, Peter.
Yeah.
Is that you, the audience member, doing that?
No, so it'll be. I mean, it might be that. I imagine it would be one of the actors, like one actor. We say, you know, can you just type? But then I guess the difficulty is if they choose, like, say if it's Bella's job to type in "get you guilty," but she's chosen for a scene, then she can't type it. So maybe it's something that we have to get rid of. Is it too much for tech to do as well?
Anyone could do it. Anyone can do it. One of the producers or.
Yeah, I guess we wouldn't always have a producer in for every show, though.
Okay.
So that's.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
You'd have to do it within the team. So it could be a thing that, you know, everyone's on board and you know that.
I was only asking just if I needed to mention it in this bit.
Oh, okay. No.
But a cool thing, but that's fine. Cool. You ready?
Yes.
Welcome back, detectives. I trust you've been doing some excellent detecting work. And your interviews were very successful, so now you know exactly who did the murder and why. Waste no time in asking head detective of breakout room 1, I know you're a handsome fellow who doesn't mind the limelight, to come on into my captain's chair and tell us all about your theories and who you think done it.
Well, thank you very much, Shartington. So we are pretty certain that the killer is in fact, or the main killer is in fact Penelope Gwynn. We believe that Penelope Gwynn, I love that. Penelope Gwynn was furious with Albert Ross. Furious with Albert Ross because he had rejected her advances. You see, she was madly, truly, deeply in love with him. And he cruelly rejected her. So she had the great idea to start poisoning him with cod liver oil. So she would do this by sneaking into the kitchen. And when Doug's body wasn't looking, because he often had a habit of looking in like really weird directions, she would distract him, and she would pour the cod liver oil into the barrel. And then, unfortunately, it wasn't really working because Penguin's actually a bit thick. And so, then she decided that when he was going to radio for the camp, that she would have to try to strangle him in the base camp, in the telephone place, you know, where they call people. The tower, I think, is it the broadcast tower? So they went to the broadcast tower, and he was in there typing, or he was in there trying to call for help, and she snuck up behind him and she strangled him with her binocular strap. Strangled, yeah, that's it. She strangled him. It took quite a while. He tried to fight her off, but he failed and eventually died.
Wait a second. You think I strangled him, Detective? Well, actually, you would be right. That's exactly how it happened, pretty much. But not because he rejected my advances, Detective, no. I've skipped right into the thing, but do we want to hear another thing?
Let's have another theory. Yeah, let's imagine we know that there are three.
That's a load of nonsense. I haven't heard such piffle since my mother told me something funny there. Too tired to think of something. That's piffle, Detective. I've never heard such tripe. Right, Head Detective from Breakout Room 2, and have you got a better theory?
Yes, actually, I have. My theory is, I believe that it was in fact Get Your Bearings.
Me? You think it is me? How could it be me, Detective? What do you mean? What is your theorem?
Well, my theorem, as you so put it, is that you in fact are Albert Ross's son. And you found out that your father was not interested in you at all, and this enraged you. You were furious. You confronted him one day and he just shot you down, and in fact he pushed you in that hole.
Daddy!
So one day, when you discovered that he was trying to radio the ship for help, you decided that you were going to go and you were going to try to kill him. So you followed him to the radio tower after he called you for help, and you grabbed the flask of cod liver oil and you shoved it down his throat, forcing him to swallow all of the cod liver oil. You poured it down his throat until it was so full to the brim and choking, and then you thought, oh, I'm going to try to strangle him, but you didn't have a belt, so you took off your balaclava, and then you used it to strangle him. You put it round and you strangled him and strangled him and strangled him until he was dead. Then you put the balaclava back on, and you decided that you would just hover and wait there for help to come and pretend to be pathetic, like you hadn't done it.
Well, Detective, as good as your Norwegian accent is, you have mistaken one thing. I actually am pathetic and weak. I could never, ever strangle Albert Ross with my balaclava. It is made from the softest of cashmeres from Norway. It can't even stand up to me sneezing in it sometimes. No, let's hear from Detective number 3.
Hello, yes. Well, I do not think any of these are realistic. We think that, in fact, the killer is Doug Spoddy. That's right. We believe that Doug Spoddy was rapturously and sensuously in love with Bella de Ball. His heart was full of love with Bella de Ball, and Bella de Ball, she said that she could not leave him. Yes, people love it. She couldn't leave him for Albert because she was too much in fear of Albert. And he said, listen, together we can work together. Give him this cod liver oil. I will put seal liver oil. It will weaken him and eventually he will die. Bella was uncertain, but she decided to go along with it. But unfortunately, it wasn't working. And so when the ship came, you feared that your plan would not work. So you decided to follow him to the, I'm going to stop doing an accent. You decided that when he was radioing, you would follow him to the tower. You followed him along the tunnel, Albert was in there trying to work the radio and failing. You got there and you saw it. Yes, you found it really funny. You did. You found it really funny. And Albert saw that you were laughing at him and he started to criticize you and tell you off for things like that. So you punched him. We reckon you must have like incapacitated him somehow. So you hit him. And then you started to strangle him using a fishing wire. Oops. So you got the fishing wire and choking and choking and choking until he died. Stupidly, you forgot that you'd left the cod liver oil thing there, the flask, and then you ran back to the camp where you waited for the detectives.
Well, let me tell you something, detectives. That is the biggest load of hokum I have heard since I heard Albert Ross doing karaoke in Brisbane Port. What makes you think that I could kill my best friend? Yes, I've betrayed him by having intermarital relationships with his new wife, but I would never kill my best friend. No, you've got it wrong. I don't know who's killed him.
I do. Oh, shut up, Doug, you pathetic. Of course Doug couldn't have killed Albert Ross. Inside, he's made of pancakes.
Lovely. Can we pause there? Thanks. So could we go back? I'm wondering, Chloe, is it possible? So is it possible, like, so when we cut, we get a detective, you know, the first detective, Shartington goes, leaving the detective sitting in the chair with the blank screen. Could we go back to that bit?
Yep.
So I'm wondering, could, you know, in the very first suspects bit where you bring up the character and they don't have their background,
Yeah.
could it be that in every time the detective finishes describing how it's happened with the characters acting it out, the moment where the character changes and starts saying detective and speaking directly to the detective, could we flash back to this state with the character being against a blank background, or is that too much work?
That's doable. The one thing I'll say is it's very quickly doable if you're cool with a degree of jump, because where everyone is in the different scenes
Yeah.
isn't fully aligned, so there might be like a kind of a bit of a to them, say, being center of the projector.
Okay. Could we trial it just to see how it works?
Sure.
Just
Let me
sort of,
make
because
a-
then that'll give a further, I think, underscore to the change between the false theory and then the real dialogue. And then it's also nice just having a little bit of the detective and the characters being both equally lit.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll ease off the projection glow as well, and when I've made that a little less dark, we won't have quite such a stark difference between them. Okay, let me just this one up. And where's the X? And there's Oh, Tom, when you're available, could you hop into the middle of your screen at the moment? I don't know how to size you. Thank you.
That would
Do you
be
just want to see what it's, do you just want to see what it's like, Peter? I can now show you what it's like with Tom.
yeah.
It'll take just a minute more to do it with Alice.
Yeah.
But so if you've got there and you want to go to kind of get your Doug.
Yeah, so let's say I'll finish the theory and then we can sort of, and so that, and then you came back to the kitchen and you started acting like normal, waiting for the detectives to arrive.
Right, I've had enough of this. Let's hear.
I will just, that's all right. Are you most typically standing up when you're in scenes during this? I think most of the time, apart from when you're being strangled. So let me just, I can position you like that so that, sorry, would you like to see that again, Peter?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry.
Okay, no, sorry, that's, if we go from Doug in the kitchen.
And you come back to the kitchen and you were flailing and really upset, and then you decided to calm yourself down for when the detectives arrived.
Right. Let's get something straight, detectives. That is an absolute load of rubbish, okay? I don't know what you lot have been drinking on that booze cruise, but it can't have been very good for you because you're absolutely losing it. You're going cuckoo bananas. No, I want to hear what another detective has got to say. Detective of Room 2, what about you?
Oh, me? Well, I basically, I think, and then could we, so in this moment when we're then getting to Detective 2, are we able to just go to a blank screen, losing the character?
Yes, one moment. Can I just check? Tomorrow, are we having a genuine selection of different audience as detectives, or yourself doing all three? Just because that'll change how I prep it.
We can't really get someone else to give a theory, can we?
I think it's funner and more entertaining for them if you do all three, Peter, because you will say the type of things that me and Tom can
Yeah.
respond well off, and it will give a better flavour.
Yeah.
I don't think any of those other guys will have a.
No.
It's a better proof of concept, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. In that case, yeah, that's easier on my end as well.
Shall I just change my facial hair and accent for each person?
Yeah. Always.
Let me just. So from here back to plain blank screen.
Yeah. So, yeah, as soon as he throws it to the next detective, and we have the next detective in situ. Right. Oh, okay. Well, my theory is in our room we were really, confused, but basically we think it was two people working together. So we think it was Penguin and Get Your Bearings.
Well, why do you think that, detective?
Well, we think that you are both actually twins. We think you're both related. But the thing is, you didn't realize that initially when you started your love affair. That's right. You had fallen for each other. Well, Getcha more for Pen. And you were making out one day, and then, unfortunately, Getcha had read the diaries and realized that the two of you are related. The shock was so bad, and he wasn't sure what to do, whether to tell Pen or not, but eventually he decided he would have to tell Pen the truth about Albert Ross and their relationship. Pen couldn't believe it and was so furious, and she felt so sick and so angry that she decided she wanted to make Albert Ross feel as sick as she did. So what she did was she concocted this plan that they could start poisoning him by giving him cod liver oil, because Getcha would always take it to his breakfast. So they both would take turns in poisoning the cod liver oil with seal liver. And but it was taking too long, way too long. So on the day of the radio, Penn encouraged Getcha to go to the radio tower. Getcha went to the radio tower, radioed for help, and then he did something to the radio so that it wouldn't work anymore. And then later, so he'd taken the key to the tunnel and he sort of hid it and he left it open, and then he let Penn come through and sneak through the tunnel, and actually she's the one we think who strangled Albert Ross. So when Albert Ross was there trying to make a call, she strangled him until he was dead. And she then yeah, he tried to fight back, but he couldn't because he was so weak. And she laughed. And then she ran back to the camp. So yeah, so we think it was both Penn and Getcha together.
Right. So do you think we were lovers? That I would be stupid enough to put my tongue down his throat? And then find out we're twins? I mean, really, detectives. For starters, I'm Welsh and he's Norwegian. And we don't look anything alike. He looks like a sea trout. and I'm a beautiful gazelle. So, detective number 3, head of breakout room 3, could you please make yourself known and do a better theory than that piece of tripe?
Hello. Yes, so poor. Well, we've got some like quite a lot of similarities, but then also some differences. And we actually think that it was Getcha. So we think that Getcha Bearings, he basically was he was in love with Penn, and all he could do was spend his whole time thinking about how he's in love with her. But then he saw the way that she had no interest in him whatsoever, and instead she seemed to be focusing all her attention on Albert Ross, and this made him really, really angry. So angry, in fact, that he decided that he would basically do all sorts of things to kill him. So actually we think Getcha was responsible for the breaking of the ice as well. We think that Getcha like probably found some explosives or something down in the map room, and he'd like set a bomb and had tried to kill Albert Ross that way, which then failed. And in fact, he was probably trying lots of different ways to kill Albert Ross. One of them, we think, with the cod liver oil, the seal liver oil. So he would take that and he was poisoning him with the seal liver. Again, that failed. So we think that he tried to set the Huskies on him because but he thought that, you know, that would kind of, that the Huskies would kill him. And they didn't. It just made them really excitable in unexpected ways. And then finally, we reckon that he decided he wanted to strangle them, and he took the lead from the Husky hut because he wanted Scout to be seen to be guilty. So he followed Albert Ross to, in fact, he waited for Albert Ross. We think Getcha never came back to the camp after the radio. He stayed there the whole time, and he was hiding under the desk in the radio tower, waiting for Albert Ross to arrive. And when Albert Ross eventually did arrive, completely unaware that he was there, Getcha strangled him. Strangled him and strangled him and strangled him until he was dead. And then he just sort of stayed waiting there because he thought that no one would think he was so stupid to wait where the killing had happened.
Oh, well, I have not heard such a tall tale since I was back in Norway, watching my little Norwegian mouse cartoons. Yes, I have been in love with Pen. She is the beauty of the ice. But I could never kill Albert. My family have invested too much money with him. If this whole mission fails, then my family fails. How could I have done it, detectives? Don't you see? It must have been someone else.
Oh, shut up, Getcha, you pathetic fool. That's right. It was me who killed Admiral Albert Ross. Of course it was, Detective Tiger Cat. And I'll tell you how I did it. Nice little films you made, detectives, but this is the truth. You watch how I did it. See, did you know, detectives, that albatrosses in the wild don't recognize their own child when they're not in the nest? Well, Albert Ross was no different. He didn't recognize me, his daughter from his first wife. And when he tried to make passes at me, I told him who I was, but he just ignored me and carried on stealing my research as if it was his own. Well, when Getcha found my mother's old diaries, I realized I wasn't the first woman he had done this to. No, he had stolen my mother's research. And then, when she kicked up a fuss about it, he kicked her off the expedition, even though he knew she was pregnant with me. But when I found this out, that's when I started to poison him. With seal liver extract. Clueless Doug and Bella thought they were giving him cod liver oil to make him better. But I was there lacing the barrel with seal liver extract. It was fun, watching him lose his mind, his wife, his legacy as a hero. But it was taking far too long. So, this morning, when Getcha radioed for help, making him furious when it was the perfect time to finish him off. So I waited for Admiral Albert Ross to find out what Getcha had done. He walked to the radio tower and I followed him with my... 1 second. So I followed him to the radio tower. There he was, trying to cancel El Shato for coming. And I crept up behind him and I strangled him with my binocular strap. There was not a lot of life left in him, so it didn't take long. Then, well, I put on his coat and I snuck back down to the base camp and I shouted through the doorway as Admiral Albert Ross. Getcha, please come to the radio tower. There's something wrong with the radio. Stupidly, Getcha followed me, thinking that I was Albert Ross. So when he arrived in the radio tower, he found Albert Ross dead, and I snuck back down the tunnel. And then I tossed the map room keys, and then I tossed the tunnel, I snuck back down the tunnel, and I tossed the tunnel keys onto the map room floor, casting a lot more suspicion on poor, sad, useless Getcha. So there you go. And I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you booze crews full of detectives.
Nice. And so, yeah, if Tom could be in that final bit in the scene, like down in the hole, in that last bit as being, and then just covering when Alice walks off, that was perfectly done, walking off with the detective and doing no pen, so something like no, just to cover, to give her time to change into Shartington and walk back into shot.
Yeah, right.
And then also, I guess we just need you as Albert Ross again in the being killed bit. Wait, should we just do that? Alice, you walking out on that last line and then coming in as...
So I'm just positioning Tom for the map room. Can I just check with Getcha in the map room at the end? Do you want Getcha to be able to actually like climb out from under there, or just be in the hole during that moment?
I think just in the hole, it's quite nice and pathetic.
Sure. Cool. Grant, sorry, can you, where did you want to go from?
Should we go from, yeah, just the tossing, just before tossing the keys on the map room floor?
That would be...
Oh, so yeah, still in the map room where they were.
Oh, sorry, just rather than leading into that, sorry.
Oh, you can lead into it if you like, if that's better.
That's okay, it wasn't necessary from on my end.
Cool.
Then I tossed the tunnel keys onto the map room floor, casting even more suspicion on poor, sad, useless Getcha. And I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you booze crews full of detectives.
Pen, no, don't do it, Pen, no. Oh.
Well. I need to wait.
Sorry, I need a new scene set up for
Cool.
transitioning into that. One moment. Sorry, one sec.
No worries. Oh, that is a dull. Every so often I forget that Tom is in my other room.
Alice, could you just pop yourself in front of your green screen just so I know where you are? Ah, lovely, thank you. Cut this one. There we go. Do you want this to be one where there's still, yeah, we still have the audience member, don't we? Well, sorry, I can remove the, I'm realizing just now that the body that I've put on them makes doing a handshake very difficult. I can try and think of, I could basically cut the body off at the head, at the shoulders, or at the torso, so they're just propped on top. It depends.
Yeah, I do you wonder about maybe losing the arm, at least the one that's up, you know, the arm that's up.
Okay, I can, that's something I'll have to do separately again, but I can take that off just so, as it were, they could have an arm coming out of that if they wanted.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think just maybe that, just having just that arm off means that, yeah, they can still try the handshake, because that would be quite funny.
Okay, cool, I will get that sorted. Grand. Sorry, where would you like to go from? I won't be able to do the arm crop just now because I need to change the image in an editor.
Could we go from transitioning out of that final scene again with Getcha in the map room? Sorry, Alice, I'm going to take that off again. And going back in. And could you start the zoom into the screen, so to speak, from, and I would have on the line, and I would have got away with it if it hadn't have been.
One sec. Zoom on. That's Alice's line, right?
Yeah. So you could start it, and I would have got away with it if it hadn't have been.
So you're aware, sorry, just because that means the Getcha stuff will be happening whilst Getcha is in the projector rather than that scene, and those are two different ones. It's not drawing one from the other. I'm putting that on my list of things to tidy this evening, but I think, as far as I can tell, Tom won't be visible while he's saying those Getcha lines, or he might not be.
Okay.
Just because I'm fading between. It's hard to describe without just showing the thing. I can make that happen, but right now there's just a lot of things.
Right.
Let me just. So where are we? There.
Okay.
Oh, 1 second. Sorry, because I've not set it up with the. I'm really sorry. Could I ask? Could we have a 4-minute pause because my brain's hitting a little bit
Of course.
with the number of things I'm having to list and I'm trying to fix as we go.
Sure, I completely forgot. We should have had a pause about 20 minutes ago. Yes, let's have a 5-minute break, everyone.
Grand, thank you.
No worries. Thanks for reminding.
Okay, so this is. Let's see, final scene. 11.6. That's impossible for me to put in without it being nice. Yeah, I need. Okay, so I need a copy of that scene that doesn't have a listen. Okay. We need a copy of that scene. Okay, good. It's the remost on this. So everything from scene 11.5. This is probably last projector. Please take out the audience as well. So that's scene 1.6. Just remove that from the last projector. Will you let me crop you? Oh no. No, you won't let me crop you. Okay. Shots. Four, five, seven, 6, 9. 4, 5, 7, 6. Oh, projection.
Just showing Tom how it looks on Zoom.
Ooh.
It's good, isn't it?
The green background works quite well, doesn't
It
it?
does, yeah. It's surprising.
Oh, right.
Are you really roasting in there?
No, yeah, well, I'm always roasting. That's my problem. It's like
How's it going, Chloe?
I managed to do the setup for that final scene. I haven't quite managed to do kind of the next thing on my list of jobs, which is just working through them. But I can take us. I should be good to take us from from here
Yeah.
to here. Alice, I'm just gonna, if you kind of stay there, I'm just gonna.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. If you could go back to where you were, because I wanted to reposition you so we weren't cutting you off. Thank you. If you're going to be coming in that side. Do you want to just see how much space you've got to actually go to the other side? Sorry, I'll just sort out the fact that Alice is showing in both things. But if you're just going into the center, then you're fine. Okay. Sorry, let me just look at that. 11.6, where are you then? From map room for last projector. Last projector. Let's just take those out there. There we go. Where would you like to go from, Peter?
We go from the end of Pen's confession, so going from her being in the map room and saying, tossing the keys on the map room floor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then I tossed the tunnel keys into the map room floor to cast even more suspicion on poor, sad, useless Getcha. I would have got away with it if it wasn't for your pesky booze cruise full of detectives.
No, Pen! No! Oh, Pen, why? Oh.
Well done, detectives. Each and every one of you contributed to catching our killer. Give me a shake of your hand.
Oh, me, right. Ooh.
That's it. Oh, somebody's been on the advocate, haven't they? Well, thank you, detectives. Now, let's get back to our booze cruise, eh? Who's starting the conga? After you. Hey. Hey.
Nice. I think that's good. Yeah, so Alice, feel free on that line. I would have got away with it if it hadn't been for a full booze cruise. Feel free to be walking, yeah, leaving as you're saying it. Cool. So how do you think, yeah, what we've got, 23 minutes. How did you manage to have any time to check the silhouette stuff, or was that not really?
Initially, I was trying to do that between things, but it became a bit of a challenge. I've really struggled. I don't know why it's such a current problem, because it was something quite simply created last time, and it's exactly the same settings on the things. Like, I can have a look at it tonight so that if we do have time tomorrow, it's possible to play with it. I absolutely don't know what's gone on there to make it no longer possible to easily generate silhouettes of people.
Yeah, I think it's I think because it is going to be such a short aspect, like, let's, you know, if it's something easy to remedy, then great, we can have it in, but otherwise I think we should feel confident to just cut it.
Yeah, my one suspicion is that if the green screens are even slightly differently lit or such, like this month round, it might be something to do with that, because I wonder if there's some settings where previously I'd be able to get it to say 80 so that it was sufficiently dark but the green screen wasn't becoming solid, whereas if the nature of the green screens has changed, that might have, but that's the only thing I can think of, and I'm not really sure. I can have a look tonight and kind of just like go, if I've figured it out by this point, then sure, but if not, just cut myself off.
Yeah. Cool.
Because it would be a shame to lose it, because it was a very lovely scene.
I'm really enjoying seeing the faces that you're pulling in from Zoom in the end for the pen bit. Is it useful having like, for example, Paul on the Zoom as well, or to pull him in, or you're fine with it tomorrow just pulling people?
It depends. Since we were only going to be using you for doing the theories,
Yeah.
my one wariness. I mean, we can say to people at the top, if you don't mind your image being pulled in at some point, feel free to add a green screen, and then I have kind of like that consent from them to pull their image in. I
Okay.
just wouldn't want to be doing that without some kind of signal having been given to people that
Yes.
it might be their image might be brought in.
That's a nice way to do it, actually. Yeah, to say if
Yeah.
you're
Right.
great.
I can just jump in very quickly.
Yes.
Sorry, Peter. No, I was just going to say I've got I mean, a virtual green screen background works really well. I mean, yours is working perfectly well. I've got one on a website. I can just give a web link to it, and people can just download it if they wanted to. Just
Right.
put it in behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one thing
Yeah.
to just like remember, the way that I've got this programmed,
Mhm.
basically I've got 3 audience that I can pull in,
Yeah.
and I've kind of programmed them in slightly different combos. So if you and then say 4 other people have green screens, a couple of those people unfortunately just won't get shown during that, because I can only really basically just plug in those 2 people. But it'll at least give a feel for it.
Yeah, I think that's good. So is there anything in particular that people want to run in these less than 20 minutes?
Can we run the whole thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, just remembering, when running the whole thing, like if you're moving from one space to another, keep dialogue going to cover that transition even when you're not on screen. And yeah, fantastic.
Can I just double check everyone's recording, because it'd be great to get a recording of this little run through.
I'm recording on here.
I'm recording on here, I think the whole session.
Wonderful, wonderful.
You might even have me talking
great.
about politics.
Peter,
Yeah.
you know the bit that was going to be in silhouette. Do you
Yeah.
want me to still do it anyway, or should I just cut that bit?
Let's cut it for now.
Cool.
Oh, and just a heads up, I have to go bang on 4, unfortunately, today.
Yeah. It's all good. Just let me know when you're ready.
Everything's ready my end as far as I can see.
Right.
Forget about that for now. Okay.
Okay, so when you're ready, yeah, take it away, guys.
Ah, detectives, welcome. Come on in. Oh, sorry about the choppy waters. Detective Peter, is that you outside? No, you're going to be absolutely freezing. We're just by Antarctica, man. Come on in. Goodness, he still must be wearing his sherry jacket from last night. That's it. Good man. Come on in. Right. Again, sorry about these choppy shores, everybody. Get yourself comfortable in my private quarters. Aren't you lucky lot to be in the captain's cabin in this, my very lovely private lounge? Of course, you all know who I am. Oh, there we go. Seas seem to have eased, detectives. As I was saying, I am Captain El Shato, and I have been driving your detective booze cruise around the sunny shores of Argentina for some time now. But, of course, we find ourselves on these Antarctic shores. And for why? Well, I'm afraid, detectives, it's time for you to get back to work. You see, earlier this morning I received a radio call from an English expedition on the Antarctic land, and apparently there has been a murder. Yes. Good. Good, yes, you should gasp in horror. Yes. Now, take a seat, detectives, and I shall tell you all about it. Now, the man in question that has been murdered is none other but Admiral Albert Ross himself. Yes, detectives. There he is. You don't recognize him from the photographs, of course. But this morning, unfortunately, he was found murdered. And there can only be, detectives, 3 suspects. Yes, the 3 remaining crew members of the expedition. The first suspect is Doug Spoddy. Doug Spoddy is the camp cook, cleaner, quartermaster, HR specialist, and dentist of the expedition. He is no stranger to expeditions. No. He was actually on Admiral Albert Ross's first expedition on the very same site 20 years ago. Now, the next suspect is Getcha Bearings. Getcha is a Norwegian cartographer. A young lad, this is his very first expedition. But he is part of a very wealthy family, the Bearings family, who co-funded this expedition. And finally, we have the young zoologist, Penelope Gwynn. What a fine figure of a woman she is. She takes your breath away, doesn't she, detectives? Now, this is her very first expedition as well. So, those are all the suspects. Now, detectives, let's go grab our coats, and I'll take you to the site. Sorry, my coat was just on the floor. But, some of you have still got your squiffy eyes from last night, detectives. Let's put on our kit, and I will take you to the expedition site. Wrap up warm. It's chilly out there. Brrr! What did I say, detectives? Brrr! But here we are, just outside the radio tower. And from this lookout, we can see the expedition base camp. Here we are is a little map to show you where I have put each of the 3 suspects ready for questioning by you. We have Penelope Gwynn in her lab just here, detectives. Next door to her, we have Get Your Bearings in his quarters that he shares with Doug Spoddy. And Doug Spoddy himself is in the kitchen, detectives, ready for questioning by you. Now, as you can see, detectives, sorry, maybe I'm a bit squiffy. As you can see, detectives, that way, about a month or so ago, the ice sheet that the expedition is on split in half, making all the food and the rations of the expedition float off into the ocean. So these 4 crew members have been starving for a month, detectives. I know this because earlier this morning I got a radio call from none other than Get Your Bearings. Yes, he was here in the radio tower. There he was. Oh, there he is. Radioing me for help.
Help! Help! Anybody, please. The ice shelf broke months ago. We are so hungry. I fear that if somebody does not come and help soon, then we will all be going cuckoo bananas, and maybe something much worse. Our captain, Admiral Albert Ross. Oh my goodness, he is turning yellowy. He is so hungry. Please, you must come and help us.
And that is what I heard down the radio this morning, detectives. And when I arrived on the expedition, well, a very strange sight appeared to me in this very radio tower. You see, it wasn't Get Your Bearings in the radio tower when I arrived some hours later, detectives. No, it was a snowman. Well, it wasn't. It was a man covered in snow. And that man was none other than Admiral Albert Ross himself, quite dead. He must have been there for some time, detectives, as the snow was very thick upon his body. I looked closer. Ah, on his neck, some sort of mark, like he'd been strangled, detectives. But by what and by who? Next, I saw his face, and as Getcher had mentioned on the radio, it was yellow. Jaundiced, perhaps. Sunken. He had not been well for some time, detectives. I took a quick look around to see what other evidence I could find. Hark! What's this on the floor? A hip flask? Addressed to his wife? What's he doing with it? See what a sort of tipple he likes. This doesn't smell of alcohol, detectives. This smells rather fishy. Something fishy about all of this, detectives. What was Albert Ross doing at the radio tower? Maybe he was angry with Getcher for radioing for help. I know he was a very proud man. What was he doing with strangulation marks around his neck? And why was he so jaundiced? And why, if he had come walking to the radio tower when it was in a blizzard, why isn't he wearing a sensible coat? All questions for you to ask and find the answers to, detectives. Shortly, I'm going to divide you into your detective teams, where you will have 5 minutes to interview each one of the suspects. Then you will come back to me, to my private captain's lounge, and I will hear from you as to your theories on who you think done it. Good luck, Holmes. I believe in you. Taggart, get me a sherry.
Right, detectives. Good to see you. My name's Doug. Doug's Body. I'm the camp cook, carpenter, hairdresser, dentist, everything in between. How can I help you? Have you got any questions for me?
Did you kill Albert Ross?
Did I kill Albert Ross? My best friend and boss? No, of course I didn't. I would never do such a thing. Why would you even ask such a question?
Well, where were you when he was dead, when he was killed?
Well, I was in my fishing hut doing fishing with the fishes. Of course I was. I'm always out there fishing. We're basically starving.
And then did you see or hear anything because from the fishing hut?
Well, the fishing hut is quite far away from the base, you see. But I did see something. I saw Albert Ross crossing over the base there, but it was very snowy. But it was definitely him because he has a distinctive limp. I'd know. I gave it to him.
How did you give him a limp?
Oh, it was just a small accident many, many years ago where we got into a bit of fisticuffs at a bar in Brisbane, and you know, when I get mad, I do tend to hurt people, sometimes kill them. But luckily, Albert got away with just a permanent injury.
Right. Okay. Just pausing here. As we're in the Zoom session, will we have still the messages from Taggart, or are we doing? Are we just gonna? How are we transitioning from one suspect to another?
I don't think that had been basically covered or decided.
Yeah. Are we able to do it in the standard Sherlock and Holmes way, or is it just that we let the character turn their camera off at a point when they think, and then we don't bother with the messages saying that your next suspect is coming?
My only thing about characters turning their camera off at a given point is that since people aren't on their own Zoom cameras in the call,
yeah,
you can't do that. It would require me knowing exactly when someone wants to change the image.
Why don't me and Tom just walk off?
Yeah.
And that can be Chloe's cue to change the scene for another character. And me and Tom will just make sure that they don't go longer than like a minute and a half or something.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah, I think if we have a clear, we just decide a clear cue for Chloe.
Yeah.
It's going to be a different.
Yeah.
I just because we also haven't figured out an order. I mean, I was assuming it was going to be Tom, Alice, Tom,
Yeah.
just for ease of stuff. Is
Yeah.
it preferable to do Dog's Body first, or to do Getcha first, or is it kind of much for muchness?
It's much of a muchness, whatever's easiest for you, Chloe.
Yeah.
In that case, I'll do Dog's Body, Penguin, Getcha.
Great.
Great.
Yeah, so I loved things like the brrr, that really tickled me, Alice. The brrr being cold, crossing into it was really nice. And maybe have some other like thing for when you're going to get your coat as well. Some of the, oh, what a mess, just filling the space there. And the transition from, yeah, I guess the transition from Doug being from the body, Alice being with the body in the hut, into Doug. That was the only thing that stood out to me. Any thoughts for that?
I can do it as a hard cut. I was trying it as a fade just to see if that was less jarring, but it might be more jarring because of the combined images.
Yeah.
Would you prefer a cut rather than a fade?
Yeah, I guess it's just how to get, because obviously whichever way we do it, we'll still see Tom switching the hats and characters, won't we? Either way, so.
I could look into. I'm a bit wary of.
Yeah.
I can set up a thing, so I've already got quite a significant list to just make sure is functioning tonight in order, so it's easy to run through tomorrow.
Yeah. Cool. I think the fade is fine actually. Let's stick with the fade and sort of lean into the. I think if there's something quite nice of maybe we just ham up the fact like when if a character is changing in scene, it's a bit like, so as actors, if you just sort of even just make it a bit like whoop, over the top sort of performance change.
Yeah, we've got me changing to Penguin very obviously, so
yeah, just make it even more obvious. It's fine. Great. So yeah, I think we'll have to end now. Chloe, obviously we can be like chatting on, I mean, I've got Joe and stuff, but if there's any stuff that you want to check in with or run through.
Sure. I have a call that I have to be on until from 4:15 to 5:15. After that, basically what I might do is until 6 at least, because some of this should be swift. Until 6 I might just do some of the things, because there are also some things in that little run where I clocked, oh, that thing is misaligned, or I'm seeing 2 chairs where I should see 1 chair, kind of thing. And basically, if say at 6, I drop you an email with a recap of kind of jobs that I've done and jobs that are still to go, my things are looking.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool.
What's the plan for tomorrow? What time do you want to start, and what time would have you asked people to come and join and see the performance?
Based on the schedule, we're called at 10. And people are coming at 11 currently. If we feel that we could push that back a little bit till 11:30, but I think that's currently.
So 10 a.m. is a kind of set up and get everything working.
Yeah.
Another run through, and 11 o'clock is your invited audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will. I mean, for anyone, obviously, you don't have to join earlier, but just so folks are aware, I will probably be here on vMix with stuff up and running from 9:30, so that I can just try and get as much preset and hopefully have things as smooth on my end for when we start proper at 10.
Great. And then obviously,
If you want me to come along, then I can, Chloe. If you want, if it's helpful, you just let me know.
It might be good because you could always be a person on Zoom, Paul, and just check
Yeah,
that
sure.
kind of that sound is all functioning and
Yeah,
everything. That'd be grand.
we
Absolutely.
can be in a bit.
Yeah.
Excellent. I wonder whether we've got. I know that Peter's got to go.
Yeah, I've got to
We've
go
got a
still.
meeting. That's fine, Peter. That's no
All right.
problem at all. Chloe, you've got a
Bye,
meeting
Peter.
at 5.
Bye everyone. Bye Tom. Bye.
Bye, folks. Bye,
Bye,
Peter.
Peter.